Oh, welcome everybody to the Arts and Glass podcast. I'm your host, Nombulo Mashi, and we are here today with Emmanuel. Yes, that is correct. Emmanuel, he is a good friend of mine, and he is all things business, finance. Listen, if you want
Yo,
to be equipped of all things finance and business, here's the person. I'm telling you now. I'm telling
ah,
you right now.
yeah, no pressure. No.
But yeah, this is the Arts and Glass podcast. This is a podcast where we get to hear all things about just doing the journey. What does it take going from plan A to plan B, starting and going, and what happens in between. This is a space where creatives also can come up and get to learn from each other. We get to learn, as today we're going to be hearing all things business wise and just his journey as a whole. And this is the space where we get to learn, this is a space where we get to grow, and we also get to hear how do we do it with God. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing for today. And so I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy and take notes where you can. So yes, Emmanuel, hi.
Hello, hi.
How
How are
are
you doing?
you?
Good. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I am less tired than usual, so that's a positive.
That's good.
But I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. I'm very excited about this episode. Um, One thing about you and I is that we're always talking about business. We're always talking about just leveling up, surviving in this thing called life,
Come on. Yes.
and making money. I remember there was a time where I was in work in a job that I just genuinely didn't enjoy, and I was like, Emmanuel, I want to quit. I want to leave this place. And he said,
Ah, ah,
oh, perhaps strategy. If you are going to do that, if you are going to go for it.
yes.
And you've just been a person that I really just seek clarity in terms of finances and business because I always seen you as something who really reaches out and takes the risk. And if you have an idea, you go for it. You don't just think about it. You don't just talk about what you actually do. Do your
Thank
business
you.
does things. So yes, so tell us, who is Emmanuel and what do you do?
Sure. So Emmanuel is hmm, Emmanuel is an employee,
Mhm.
right? And Emmanuel is a business owner. Um, a few businesses, uh, primarily within consulting, business consulting, and strategy consulting, um, as well as marketing and media. Um, and then I am a senior products manager for a tech company where we build in-house solutions and really offer products for mining companies, finance companies, in the form of tech, and basically try and um, augment their processes and optimize their processes. Um, yeah, but above and beyond all of that, Emmanuel is a child of the Most High God. That is me.
Amen.
Yeah,
Yeah. That is a lot that you do. You're an employee, you're a consultant, and yes, you're
hey,
in tech. That's what I heard when you said that. Oh, so tell me,
yeah.
what was the beginning point of you going into what you do? So into business, as you said, you're an employee, but you also have your own business. What was the turning point or the starting point in you going into that direction?
Into the direction of business.
Yeah.
Sure. To be honest, I started business quite young. Unintentionally, like grade seven, you're like, they say, come do these like little, um, what are they called? Like
Market.
fundraisers.
Oh,
Yeah, like fundraisers where you have to, like a bake sale or you understand your market as kids who are buying from you. And I started there and I was like, this is nice. This is interesting.
mm,
Um, and I made a little bit of money off the stuff I was selling, which my parents had helped me with. But then when I got to high school, because I was in boarding school, um, two of my best friends and I were like, oh, let's start a business, because this one gentleman was like, I want to teach kids how to do business. And so my two friends and I were like, oh, okay, fine, let's do it. Let's do something, you know. And our market will be hostel boys. School I went to had about like 500 hostel boys, give or take. And we were like, okay, fine, we're gonna sell confectionery goods, your muffins, your donuts, your brownies. So we would bake them ourselves. And yeah, listen, I know how to, you know, I'm here. I know how to do the things. But yeah, so we started doing that. And to be honest, there's just something about working for something and making it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like being able to see a finished product, have someone else like it and pay you for it. I feel like that feels so good.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where it started. For me, that's where it started. I was like, this is nice. I want to continue doing this. And then I started doing that in different forms. Like when I'd go home, cut the lawn and, you know, charge people. And it was just fun. Like for me, business is like, it must be fun. You know, I mean, there are things that are stressful, 100%, but like, I think the day I stop finding it fun, it's probably the day I stop. But I doubt that will ever happen, because it's new every day.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, that's interesting. You're out here, you know, baking stuff and making stuff. Let's go, Emmanuel. Man, I didn't
listen.
know. You're out
Yeah, I
here.
had to, guys. We had to. Did that. I did a whole bunch of stuff. Looking back, I'm like, ha, Emmanuel, nah, this wasn't good. Legit, Nungs, I don't think I've said this even to like a few of my other friends, but like, I sold cell phone covers at a point. Like the covers, guys.
Oh,
Listen, yeah, and
you've
it
been out
was.
here.
No, I've been out here, and it was bad. Like actually, I still have the box of cell phone covers that didn't sell. To put it into context, Samsung A3,
Yes.
that was like 2018, 2017, probably even 2016. I still have covers like that. You know how much money I lost? Yo, just know I've been around. I've done the things. Yo,
Yeah.
yeah.
I should know you're a real hustler. You've been hustling. How do you manage that actually? You know, you start something, you're passionate about the idea, and
Yeah.
then people don't buy it. Like, how have you managed that cut? As you said, you've got someone covers tucked away somewhere that no one probably has thought, maybe one or two people have thought. Like, how have you managed to still pivot or spring out and still try to do something else, you know, for those who probably are
Sure.
interested in starting
Sure.
anything?
Um, I think the journey has changed for me over the years. So initially I was down and out. I was sad. But then I realized like it's probably also just because I wasn't asking the right questions, right? So I then started going back and navigating whether or not it's something the market wanted. When I say the market, like really the customer, like if I'm saying Nonko is a cell phone cover, do you have that cell phone to begin with? You know what I mean? Like if you don't have that cell phone, why am I selling you that cell phone cover? Because it makes your life a lot easier to sell someone that they need, you know? Even if it's an idea, even if it's a pitch. But I then realized asking the right questions of your audience at large, but also something that my current position has taught me is the ability to take constructive criticism on the product you create is probably your greatest superpower, in that you're able to iterate and change things quicker to a product that the market actually just wants. And so it makes it easier to give it to them, because it's a product that they've told you they wanted, and they've told you exactly how they want that product to look.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think now I've changed my perspective on it. I look at it more so as what would be of most benefit to the client, to the customer. If I'm saying I have a cell phone cover, and in my area, people you like have Samsungs, but I've only got iPhone covers, then I'm the problem, really. Like, you know, like I'm the problem. But like, if I have Samsung covers, then people are like, oh, okay, no, you've got Samsung covers. I want
Yeah.
my cover printed at the back. I want my cover uh to have an open space for my camera. Like, then we can start iterating, different covers, I guess, as an analogy, but really just listening to the market instead of trying to
Yeah.
come up with your own thing from scratch. But there's also nothing wrong with coming up with your own thing, as long as, again, you've understood what the market needs.
Yeah.
Because funny enough, I was listening to an interview, and one of the things that came up was sometimes all you have to do is solve your own problems, like the problems that you
Yes.
daily, right? Like, for example, oh man, my geyser like isn't working. Um, maybe there's something to solve for in your day to day, and you
Yep.
never know who else has the same problem. You never know how big that problem. Um, someone, I think it was Stephen Bartlett, he was saying that he's found that people don't like to solve problems enough.
Yeah.
People will have the same problem, but no one will solve it up until the one person who does solve it starts to make the money.
Yeah.
Then it's a game changer. Then it's like, oh, this problem actually makes money. Let me also hop onto the bandwagon. Um, yeah. So I think both scenarios work out.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, it's all about solving problems. Exactly that. I think, um, especially what you were saying, like, especially if you are focusing on a problem that you actually have, finding a
Yeah.
solution to that problem actually, it's almost like if you're creating something that you wouldn't even buy, what are you doing? But if you're
Yeah.
creating something that you have a problem and found a solution to your own problem, it means that you'd also buy it, you'd also invest into it. So that's really cool. Okay, cool. And then now looking into your journey of, acquiring skills, what have you done to, gain some knowledge in financing and business? Where have you gone to, you know, I'm hearing you saying you listened to an interview and all of that, but where's your place of resources when it comes to just being a better problem solver or a business person?
Sure. Um, there are various resources, courses online. Um, hey, shout out Udemy, man.
And
Uh, yeah, legit, like, getting a course for $200 and getting a wealth of knowledge. Nah, shout out to them.
yeah,
Like, I was laughing the other day because I'm like, I want to go back and study, but it's gonna cost me X amount, and Udemy has it for $200. Let me go to Udemy. Like, I guess that's the entrepreneurial side of me. Like, let's start off lean, bro. Let's save money, you know. But I'm
yeah,
like, it just exists. So Udemy is probably one of the platforms I have used over the years. Um, I get a lot of like information, um, not necessarily education. Well, it is, but like, as someone in business and finance, Bloomberg. I follow
okay.
a lot of Bloomberg. Uh, Africa Private Equity, an app where like articles come out and all that jazz. I follow that, and like terminologies that I don't understand, I Google.
Mm.
Um, yeah, especially if like my degree did not teach me that stuff. Then I'm like, okay, let's see what it actually means and how is it calculated. So yeah, I use platforms like that. Um, and then from a business standpoint, right now, something I find myself doing is looking through Microsoft and Google Academy, like, just for ways to better improve myself. Like, guys, running a business is wild, man, because you're doing HR, you're doing finance, you're doing marketing. And I'm like, guys, no, it's not cute. Everything is burning. And so, like, right now, for example, I don't know, legit, everything's burning. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know what to do. Let me go find a course that will help me, like, understand Google AdWords, for example. That way I can utilize that skill.
Yeah.
So Yeah, like also using Google Academy as a platform. Um, but yeah, that's primarily where I find my sources, and whatever anyone suggests, like I am open to like, yo, who can help me out here?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean I don't know all of them. I don't know all the platforms. I don't know, and so whoever suggests anything, really, I'm down for.
Yeah. So I'm hearing you say Udemy, Google Academy and Microsoft Academy. Would you say if somebody had to start or they have this burning desire to start a business or whether it's their creative adventure or whatever the case may be, would you advise them to go to a varsity of some kind or actually in this day and age go straight into as you said, it's too
Yeah,
hard to bring costs. Like, because I know you when you study, as you said now, you just said now, my degree didn't teach me. What is your take on that? Like, especially because
oh,
it's like business. It's like, as you just said,
oh,
things change, things are not predictable. You're everything all at the same time. What is
hey,
your view on that? Like, school going traditional varsity or, straight to UD?
yeah.
Your vibe.
No go. I feel like you're putting me in a tight corner because I don't know who's gonna watch this episode, and maybe someone who I might want to sponsor me into a room one day is like, oh, so Emmanuel thought this. Maybe I shouldn't be a sponsor or a mentor that I want, or maybe an investor. And then they're like, but actually, you see, so I'm not too sure how you want me to answer those questions. Oh, now I feel like I must be a politician in my answer, but yeah, okay. I think, yeah. So high school Emmanuel would say, don't go to varsity. Weirdly, high school Emmanuel. The reason I went to varsity was because I was told, hey, everyone in this house goes to varsity. So that was my chat. Um, but looking back on my varsity days, I'm like, a lot of this stuff is useful now, you know.
Mhm.
So I think there's a part of me that would say, for a foundation, go to varsity. Because there are principles and there's a different way of thinking that varsity enables,
Yeah.
uh, and there's conversations that can be had, that enable you to understand better the work you're doing
Mm.
once you're out. If you start a business, or if you go into like management consulting or like asset management or whatever it is. Like, but I also do think there are certain jobs you can't have without going to varsity. It doesn't make sense for you to become a doctor, for example, having
Yeah.
not gone to varsity, or like, like things like that. Is it incredibly necessary? I don't think so. And I
Mm.
think I've also had cases in my life with friends who didn't go to varsity, who are doing incredibly well for
Mhm.
themselves as financial advisors, as business owners, um, primarily because for some of them it was in their DNA, like
Yeah.
their parents were business owners, their grandparents were business owners. And
Mhm.
so from the time of birth, really, they were just around
Because
business owners who were, hey, they were not, instead of talking about Teletubbies and, you know, more, more Coco Melon, their parents were like, hey, man, tell me what our bottom line is. So it's like, it's a different ball game. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
I think it depends. It depends. It depends on the aspiration.
Yeah.
If it's starting a business, I would definitely say at least some form of education so that you understand the different facets because it's broad.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you think people should go to varsity?
Yo, that's a good question. I think my mind has changed. High school
Yeah.
me when I said yes, varsity all the way, get that paper.
Hey, and it's a paper,
But
man.
but as okay, in the South African context, as we
Sure.
go along in this thing called life and going to different workspaces, you get to see. I mean, at some point, I was at work where I was employed, had colleagues who were like studying these like hectic, difficult degrees, but
Yeah.
more like I was okay. I studied something creative, but you were here, and I was like, imagine, it just feels
Yeah.
like nowadays. I just wish that people who did go to varsity got jobs with those degrees. There are a lot of people who
Sure.
are sitting back at home have burned those in those roads, burned in the libraries, and
Mm.
I guess maybe it's in our climate as well in South Africa. Unfortunately, there's a high unemployment rate. Um, and so now what I have seen, at least internationally, just outside of South Africa as a whole, is that more people are upskilling themselves, and that yes, you have this degree, but there are ways in which you can maneuver yourself or pivot and upskill yourself online. Um, you getting like a Udemy course, a Coursera course, a Google course, whatever the case may
Mm.
be. I'm a person like that did that, I just got a course that was like 600 rand and then, went in
Yeah.
So
100%.
I think, yeah. So now in the times of AI and the times of, there's so much shifts, there's so much change. I
Yes.
think rather than going, let me stick this to the traditional route, um, I think it would be a good idea just to open your horizons and go, okay,
Yeah.
cool, how do I? Because I think right now what matters is skills. What matters
Yeah.
is skills. What matters is because in South Africa it seems like there are a lot of people who are qualified. There's a lot of human resources, but I don't know if the jobs are there for those who are resource. I mean, there's doctors who are still like instead what happens is now because there's no jobs, other countries are taking them and now they have to leave the country because there's more opportunities that side. But that leaves us with no human resources. But again, they have to survive. So I
Yeah.
guess it's a thing of, I would say it's just I would say if I had a child right now or who's in matric, what would I say to them? I would say, no, 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 go do research. Go do research, go on Google and see what's actually just needed in this world. See what skill is needed in this world and see if that matches with what you do. See if that matches with what you're passionate about or what you easily can
You
do.
go. Yeah.
Because just there's so many young people our age who decided to go do that and they're sitting at home with that degree, but nothing. So,
Nothing.
and it's quite sad, but I think right now it's going, okay, cool. Even for those who did go to varsity, I think right now it's about pivoting and seeing what skill is needed out there. What skill is uh, companies really looking for? What is going to make an impact? What problems do companies have? Um, and then and filling up that space because that's once at the end of the day that's what it's about. It's going into a company and actually solving a problem as we're talking about. Um, and so for me, I would say not necessarily just going to varsity, but actually just saying, but yes, that was a thing and it was common things
Mm.
in Africa. And you have access to it, get it.
Well, yeah.
That if you are going to study in varsity, something that this is a skill that is needed rather than just taking it because everybody did it. There's so many HR, okay, cool, I was doing HR. And now it's like so many HRs, but
Yeah.
so if it means now going online and getting a course online, then let it be the case. So I would say rather
Okay.
do research what is needed in the world. That's what I would say. So
That's interesting. It's
yeah,
interesting because so nationally, not even nationally, internationally, the debt accrued currently in terms of student loans um, is, if I'm not mistaken, in the hundreds of billions of dollars, just in student loan debt alone. And so it's quite fascinating because they say that the average student takes um, about 20 to 30 years to pay off their debt, but most of them don't pay it off, period. So there's a lot to be said about that. One, education has become way too expensive in terms of holding a degree, and
yeah,
so people are having to navigate other options.
yeah,
I look at it, and a lot of the hard skills are needed, but I think what we are lacking, even on a global front, is soft skills, like your interpersonal development, um,
Yeah.
your team building aspect, your just being able to to diverse with people, like all sorts of people. It's interesting to find people who are so good at their hard skills, but have no soft skills. Like
Yeah.
they can't communicate a brilliant presentation that they've put together, or
Yeah.
they can't make people believe or persuade, believe in their goal or dream, or that their idea even works. And for me, I think
Yeah.
that's a bit sad. It's a bit sad, and I think schools probably need to focus a lot more on that as well. Um,
Yeah.
Getting people to a place where their soft skills are seen and valued as well as equal to their hard skills.
Yeah. Yeah. I think definitely working on your soft skills. I think we're very, yeah, I guess I can see why we're so focused on the hard skills, but I guess um a lot of the time what I've also witnessed is, especially in this, because at some point I was working at a school, is
Sure.
a lot of young people leave varsity not knowing how to, as you're saying, like you can get a person who has a presentation, they don't know how to speak on that presentation at all, but you get a lot
Yeah.
of young people who still also don't know how to speak or um advocate for something that, whether it's a
Mhm.
project, whether it's just confidently
Yeah.
advocate, speak, or make connections, networking, whatever the case may be. So yeah, no, I agree, man. Yeah, it's a tricky question.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. School or just going horses, it's a tricky one. But as I said, it's just navigating what's needed, and then upskilling. But
Mm.
yeah, so I'm hearing you saying that you're a consultant, and then you also have a business. Tell us a bit about your business.
Sure. So, um, in the marketing and media space,
Okay.
so we um, basically help come together with marketing ideas. So digital marketing on the one side, and something that we're trying to grow into now is out of home advertising. So your billboards, um, whether that's print media or digital media, um,
Mm.
but we're tackling it at a different angle. I don't want to say too much about that one now.
It's okay.
Maybe next time. But yeah,
But
we're
don't
pivoting. Go. Yeah, not yet. It's still cooking. I need to add some spices, nyana. But so yeah, we do that, and then we we do a bit of eventing in terms of
okay.
marketing and media. Um, yeah, and something we've done over the past 6 months is corporate gifting. So uh, we've entered the corporate gifting space. That's under that. And then from a consulting perspective, um, really help people put together their ideas. Um,
Mm,
People have fascinating ideas, but don't know how to put them on paper and don't
mm,
know how to act out. And so we help them put I guess idea to paper and create value out of it. So um, how do you make something a business? Like how do you make this idea come to life? Um, and in what avenue? Because at the end of the day, a business must make profit. Like, or else what are we
yeah.
doing? um, so that's on that end. No, legit. Like I'm like, if we're not making money, then oopsie. If we're not making money, then what exactly are we doing? Like I remember I remember being judged the first time I said oh no, I'm just doing this because people need this solution. And the mentor at the time was like, okay, but what are you getting out of it? I'm like, I'm happy it's working. And he just looked at me like, is this child okay? Like, are you crazy, my boy? Um, But yeah, so I think that's an aspect of it. Um, and um, helping people get funded, understand like what criteria there is to get funded, different criterias from different funds. I think so. Disclaimer: I don't think you need funding to start a business.
Okay. Let's
Yeah,
dissect that. Let's dissect it, please.
this thing of I need 2 million so that I can start my business because I need a warehouse and the chickens must be brought to the warehouse and then the chickens will lay eggs.
Not the
No,
chicken.
you gotta stress me. It's also because I'm hearing chickens from my neighbor. But you're gonna stress me. Like, don't do that. Don't
Yeah.
start small. I think start small. Um, like we were talking about earlier before, that like there is there's something to be said. There's a blessing in starting where you're at.
Yeah.
And starting lean, because you look back and you remember like what you've been through to get to where you would have been. Um,
Mm.
but also because it teaches you. There's, to be honest with you, I think there's so much to learn within the dirt in the beginning where you're
Yeah.
like struggling, because when you then employ people and they ask you questions, you can answer them instead of saying, I'm not too sure about that one. Let's circle back. And then 6 months later, you still haven't circled back because you actually don't know.
Yeah.
And so that's what I appreciate. Like my brother would always say, right, Emmanuel, this is your project, do it. And I'm like, Madam Rada, I just arrived. I'm new, and like learn, like figure it out. And so I don't think you need money to start a business. You may need money to expand. You may need money to grow it, but you
Yeah.
don't need it to start. There are many ways to start, and I think that's the beauty of creativity and the beauty of God having created us uh, to be creative, like as a creator Himself, knowing that we would be able to um, birth ideas. Something I'm like, I don't think we are. I don't think we birth ideas to leave them as ideas. They're not meant to just
Yeah.
be ideas that sit, on shelves. But I think we've been given a mind to go beyond the birthing of ideas and to be creative and find creative ways to bring the ideas to life. Um, that's why I appreciate artists so much. Like the idea that you would write a song based off of emotion, based off of feeling, based off of whatever it's based off of, and find just the right melodies, and notes to evoke the exact emotion that you want out of your song, right? Um, that skill matters. It means something, and I think it requires a lot of um, engineering and a lot of creativity from different people. And so, I think from a business perspective, I I am very very much inspired by creatives and the way I like. Sometimes all I need is to listen to my friends like make their music, and I'm like, okay, now I know what to do in my business. Sometimes um, I just need something creative, like to see the songwriting process. I'm like, okay, interesting. I wouldn't have thought about that way. Um, yeah, just, but I don't think we need money to stop. And sorry, I took a tangent, but I don't think we don't need money. No, that's my one.
No, man. No, I've heard of that before. And we were actually discussing it, keeping it lean. What would you say a person should do, especially if, let's say, creatives here who have big ideas, but they feel like they don't have any resources or funds? What would you say they should start to do rather? As you're saying, is not lean, but how does lean look like?
Sure. I think so. Obviously, there's the question. assumes I know a bit of the person's background, right?
Mhm.
But I think starting where you are means starting with whatever is in your hands. So if, for example, we have a laptop, right? We can start with the
Mhm.
laptop. Uh, you may not have a mic. Let's say we're just starting a podcast because, but like, guys, if you have a mic, okay, even if you don't, use your phone, and the other person uses their phone. There are apps can help sync these two things, and post it. Guys, I don't know someone who started a podcast and their first episode was crisp, like that. It has not changed. It's just been at one level and just increasing.
Yeah.
I think it has to start. It has to start badly. Because then where's the learning? So I
Yeah.
would say start what you have, and what that looks like sometimes is asking friends. Mm,
Yeah.
I have friends who've asked me for resources. Like maybe I've had a mic at home that I wasn't using. Take it, like you know. Um,
Yeah.
but then I also understand in the African context that that may not be the story for everyone, right?
Yep.
And so in that context, I think what is required before starting the thing that you're very passionate about is to do the hard yards and the odd jobs. Like
Yeah.
uh, I am for the kid who says, you know what, on the weekends I am going to like go and be a gardener for my neighbors and whoever, and I'm gonna wash cars. I'm gonna collect all this money and buy the mic, and then I'm gonna collect all this money, buy the laptop, and like I am all for the kid who does that because they are seeing a way out, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I think besides using what you have, I think everyone has been given a skill,
Yeah.
whatever that skill is. Use that skill you've been given to get to the next step. I see it as just levels of growth, because there's things to be learned at each level and each stage. Um, yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
I was literally, oh, sorry, continue.
No. I was gonna say like I think it's the same way you started your podcast. Like it
Mhm.
wasn't out of having all the resources. You know what I mean? Like you had to work for things you didn't want to. As we spoke about, you had to do the things you didn't want to do,
Yeah.
and you're here now. And I think even with where you are now, you're still thinking, yo, but I want more. I want better recording equipment. I want like a better space. Like there's a whole bunch of things that you probably still want, but it's better than where you started off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah.
It's that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, no, making sense. And I think starting lean, I guess starting from where you are, the resource or the people that you even have around you. I think it's also a
Mm,
thing of being faithful with the little, um, so that I can actually trust you with the much that will come.
yeah.
I think as you were saying, like there's a learning process that's taking place, right now we were
Yes.
just saying because you're in you wear all these hats, HR, marketing, all of these other hats, but it's a good thing that you're wearing these hats because as you were saying, when you get bigger and more funding and more expansion or that's the scaling, you're able to
Mm,
actually answer to all those different areas because you were wearing
mm,
those hats, all those different areas. So
mm,
yeah, man, I think that's really dope. That's really dope. I really think there is fruit in just starting and learning as you go down. As you're saying, it's like
yeah.
there's a build up. There's a genuine build up that will take place. All right. And then looking at obviously you're still looking at your businesses that you have. But I would say, for example, Yes, sir.
There we go. Yeah. I hope it
Okay,
doesn't
cool. We're still
get
rolling. Don't
any
stress.
study. Okay.
Don't stress it. Don't stress at all. So now, obviously, starting lean is important. Yeah, starting the level is
Yeah.
important. How do you go about in navigating who to work with on your projects, on your businesses? Like, how do you navigate that? Like, what's your go-to framework or like your ways of doing when it comes to seeking out people if there's a need to
Mm,
seek out? Because I'm hearing you say me, and all the things you're doing. How do you go
yeah.
about that?
Sure. So, firstly, I tried to do no business venture alone, um, because I don't know everything. That's the first part. And because I feel like that saying teamwork makes the dream work. It's so cliche, but I think it is so true. Like, it's just so much easier when you have a team of people. Um,
Yeah.
but for me, I look at character as one.
Okay.
Um, like, what's your character? Who are you? Who are you when you're given the world and more? You know, um, who are you when you're around other people? You know, do you treat people the same way I would treat? Do you value the things I value? Because I think it's
Yeah.
very difficult to do work with people who don't value what you value. Um,
Yeah.
because they take things for granted, and the things that are near and dear to your heart are taken for granted, and it just makes things sour. So I look at character, I look at value system. Um, I will be honest, I do look at work ethic. Um, yeah,
Come
work
on.
ethic
Yeah,
for me
that's a good thing.
but I've been judged on the point often because the argument is no, but not everyone is like you, or not everyone has the same ambitions, and I get that. But if we're saying we want to build something, building requires work. Like we're not.
Yeah.
It wasn't handed out to us. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That one's an interesting one, but yeah, I look at that. I look at those kind of things, um, and I look at whether or not we are able to be authentic with each other. Like, to what level are we able to tell
Yeah.
each other the truth? You know, like, can
Yeah.
we tell each other that we've messed up if we've messed up? If we can't tell each other that, and we are just continuously sweeping things under the rug, all right, we're gonna have problems because at the end of the day, we may think that we are helping the business, but in essence, we're really affecting it, and we are. Yeah, it's becoming a slow death to the business more than it is anything for the two of us or the three of us or how many, but like, you know. So those are the few things I look at. Like, yeah, character, work ethic, um, authenticity, mm. and also just how crazy are you willing to dream? Like,
Right.
how wild are you willing to go?
Yes.
Like, are you
Are
crazy
you
enough?
safe or
Are you safe? Because I don't like playing safe. I'm like,
yeah, safe.
guys, I'm still young. Like, I could lose it all. No, legit.
And I
I'm
mean,
like, I have no. I have no responsibilities like that, like magnitude
Yeah.
responsibilities. And also, like, I look at people in my life who, like, my brother was crazy enough to start a business or go out and venture into business, having been married with a child. Who am I? Like, I'm nice. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you'd be like, mom, dad, this thing didn't, didn't work out. I need a, you know? So I look at people like that and I'm like, ain't no way. I'm not about to let something like slow me down or, yeah, I have wild dreams. If you have wild dreams, I think we can get along.
Yeah. Oh man, that's good. That's good. Have wild dreams. Yeah, no, taking those risks can't be safe, especially, I resonate with that, especially if there's not a lot of responsibilities or there's not a lot of ties. It's like, go for it. Just
Why
do
not?
it. Just see. If it fails, it fails. If you win, you win. Exactly. And so my next question is, how do you um bring God in all of it in your business? How
Yeah,
do you actually bring God into it all? Or your
sure.
faith?
Um, yeah. So as someone who feels they've been called to business, right? Like I genuinely feel like this is my space. Um, every
Mhm.
every decision is made through a consult. Um, so this past week, funny enough, and I think you know him, but no, you should, yeah, you should know him. But I was having a catch up with a friend, and someone I consider a mentor and a brother, um, and we're chatting about how the Holy Spirit guides our decisions. Um, it sounds weird to a lot of people. I must put that disclaimer, but being able to sit down with the Holy Spirit and be like, Holy Spirit, this is where the business is at. It sounds weird. Tabanga, I'm in my office. Holy Spirit, this is where the business is at. Revenue is looking like this. What do you want me to do today? Like, and being attentive and obedient to listen to that. Um, and also allowing for the Holy Spirit to work through your employees or your colleagues, um, because that may happen too.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and so I think for me it looks like really
Yeah.
allowing the Holy Spirit to the space into all the decisions, and to work through uh my colleagues. Like, if the Holy Spirit wants me to do something and he says it through a colleague that has been frustrating me for 2 weeks, am I able to listen? Like, am I able to sit in that and say, actually, although you frustrate me, this is a great idea, let's go. um and so for me it looks like continuously praying. Legit. It looks like continuously praying. It looks like continuously having
Yeah.
conversations with the Holy Spirit and being attentive. Um, I remember there was a time where the Holy Spirit was saying, you do a lot of talking, but not a lot of listening. And so I'm not really able to assist when you're not listening. And I was like, ooh, okay, let's reel it in a bit, and start listening more.
Yeah.
um, Yeah. I find myself listening more, just like, okay, what should happen? Like, what decisions do I need to make? Um, where do I need to step? Where do I need to um slow down, or where do I need to, like, put the gas? Um, yeah, yeah. It's difficult, I'll be honest, and it's not something I
Yeah.
can say I do with um incredible consistency, because lives, and sometimes I'm like, yo, today I did not ask the Holy Spirit for any assistance. And on those days, it usually shows that I didn't ask, because things are burning, and I am feeling the heat. Um, yeah, it's not perfect. It's bad. No, it's bad. But yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think it is important to ask the Holy Spirit, because I think it's recognizing that you actually can't do it by yourself and that you don't know it all. You know,
Yeah.
like there's simply, you know, and as people, as humans, we actually don't know it all.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it's
Yes.
good to
Yes.
hear that even in your business, you're going, Holy Spirit, what must happen here? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, as you were saying, like you feel called to business, and I feel like that calling is probably from God. Like God was like, this is your thing.
Yeah.
This is your space that your space of
Yeah.
influence. And I think at the end of the day, the Holy Spirit knows better. So yeah, 100%, I
Amen.
agree with you. I agree with you on that. Sure. And looking at the actual projects, the actual work that you do, what really inspires you to do that? Like, what's the reasoning or the why behind it? Like, what's the inception? When did it begin? So, as you're saying, you have a company that's helping in marketing, and there's a company that's happening in, like, how do those companies actually come about?
Sure. So I love seeing how brands are built. I'm a big fan of seeing how how Nike came from being a tick to a massive global enterprise. Like that process is interesting. And so I want to be a student of that and help others do the same. So that's marketing. In its essence, that's how that came about. But from a business perspective in consulting, I realized in South, in South Africa, there are so many brilliant ideas, so many problems to be solved. But people just don't know how to get started. And people need the helping hand. And I think there's things that I wish I had in smaller businesses that I had started that are not my main focus now. But like there are things I would have wanted. There are moments where I would have wanted my hand to be held along, and so that's really what has stirred within me to like hold people's hands as they walk the journey of entrepreneurship and business and navigating like growth, navigating just starting even. Um, yeah, it's seeing the excitement and happiness that people get from their idea becoming more than just an idea and something that can change their own lives, better, and change their kids' lives and their kids and generations to come, just because they were bold enough to step out and they were able to to graciously ask me to assist them in making this thing come to life. I think that I counted an honor and a privilege, really, like to be able to say I've helped someone do this, and this is the fruit. It's great to labor, but it's also great to see the fruits of your labor. Yeah, I think it's exciting to see people win, man. Yeah, for me it's just the win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I think there's something beautiful about seeing people win. Like it's just like just seeing people succeed, especially when you know their story and it's like it was down there and then now they're up. It's like it really does something different to that. It's like okay, cool. Like you were on the right path.
To labor, but it's also great
and you created
to
some
see the
form of
fruits
impact. So
of your labor.
okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I think
Now
it's
looking at
exciting to see people
let's say there's somebody here that's
win,
listening
man.
and they are thinking about
Yeah, for
starting
me it's just the
something, but
win.
that's in a creative space. But at the end of the day, starting
Yeah.
something, what would your advice be? And what would you give to them as an advice? And then what's the best advice that you have received?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Mm.
Sure. Um, I think to anyone wanting to start,
Mm.
go for it. Just do it. Like, take the pen, take the paper, take the instrument, take the vision and look for the people in your space that can assist you.
Yeah.
Because what you'll find is a lot of people have similar ideas. It's like this machine where you just need different elements for the cog to work, and for the wheel to start turning. And so I think getting the different people in your
Yeah.
space that are like, actually, I was thinking about this, I was thinking about that, I was thinking about this. Let's come together
Mm.
and make this wheel turn. Um, and so I would say just do it, like however that is. Um, and I know that's extremely difficult
Yeah.
to hear, and it may mean nothing to a lot of people. Um, but I think my words would be, as people who were created by an almighty creator, to also create, you know, um, God has given us power to create. And so I would say,
Mm.
for those who believe, for those who are followers of Jesus, then
Okay.
seek his face um, in how you create and what steps to take. Ask for wisdom beyond your years, to create what it is that God has placed in your heart.
Mm.
For those who aren't, I would say pen to paper and look for the resources around you, um, and utilize them. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I think that's one thing we struggle with, asking for help. Um, yeah, we want to be these self-proclaimed millionaires, self-proclaimed billionaires. I don't understand that. Like when I was younger, I was like, I want to do that. I want to be that. But the older I get, the more I'm like, it's quite impossible to be self-made. Like you needed a team. You're not necessarily self-made. It's this lie we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel like we're at the top of the mountain and no one else can touch us. But it's not the case. So that's what I would say to those wanting to start, um, to start a creative business or anything to do with the creative space.
Okay.
In terms of best advice I've been given, sure. Hey, I've been given a lot of advice over the years. So uh, best advice would probably have come from my my family. So my dad and my brother said it a couple of years ago, probably two, but my dad said it early on. Um, learn to be one with yourself and trust your intuition.
Mm.
Yeah, learn who Emmanuel is and learn what Emmanuel wants, and understand the vision that Emmanuel has, and trust
Yeah.
each step you need to take. Um, and in moments of second guessing, run, like run. Um, and so I consider that primarily the best advice I've been given over my life, really, because um, it's enabled me to understand myself, sit with myself, and understand why I do
Yeah.
the things I do.
Mm.
And not necessarily how, because a lot of the times it's like, I God, I'm leaving this in your hands because I don't know. You deal with it. Um, And so I can't say the how, but I can say just being obedient and listening that actually, hey, wait, this is actually how I
That's
feel.
you. Run with it,
So
guys.
let's go with
Run
it
with
and
it.
just see
No,
where it
that's
leads.
you. Thank you so much, Emmanuel.
And
This
being
was
able to
a lot of
then
nuggets,
rope
a
everyone
lot of wisdom, and
along the
there's a lot
journey.
of
But
tips. I think
not being afraid to
I
run with
ventured
it,
out and I'm always
regardless of
continuously
what people
learning
may
from you,
say.
honestly.
Is ideas that I've
I
like had
think
to run
the
for 7 to
one
10
thing that
years
I
that
do
people haven't
get
seen yet,
also from you is
that
that not being afraid
that I'm
to
still running with,
ask
because
for
people are like,
help.
go, you
Also,
had it, so
and I know
continue.
that for me, it's
Yeah,
somewhat of a challenge for me.
that's
Not
me.
because I don't want help, it's just because I'm like, people are busy. But it's also
Round with it.
it's an area, and I think there are some people who probably are shy to maybe they're scared of the idea going. So what would you say to those people who are trying to get involved, but they don't know where to go, and how to approach getting help, especially for those who maybe are scared of India going, or yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
sure, sure,
Mm.
sure. Um, for as long as you don't try, the answer will always be no. And so, yeah, so
Okay.
for me, I would look close. So family first. We, what's the right word? I was gonna say the Zulu word, like a slang word for this, but like we we undermine we undermine the the wisdom and the nuggets that can come from
Yeah.
our parents, our grandparents, our cousins, our siblings. We undermine that advice, and I don't think we should. I think we should heed the advice and really sit with it. But other than that, for me, what has helped? Networking events. Um, yo, I've been going to networking events like grade 8. I was there.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, man, like going to these things and really telling people about your story, guys. I cannot tell you how important your story is, like, and how powerful your story is. Don't think it is um average or the norm. No, it's not. There's something about your story that could impact someone else's life and could help someone else out. Like I was seeking out a
Okay.
mentor and I told him my story, and he was like, huh, I
You
actually
just
want
go
advice from you now. I'm like, that's
mentor
wild,
me,
because I look
let's
at your life
partner.
and your life has been and so seek it out at events, look for people that inspire you, and don't be afraid to reach out to them, whether
Fine,
it's
yeah.
on LinkedIn, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on, hey,
Yes.
I don't know what people are doing on TikTok. I think there's a messaging thing. TikTok, if there's a messaging thing.
Yes.
But don't be afraid to reach out. Like I've gone to the extent of going to people's offices, Coco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, sorry, hi. And I've also been turned around like, hey, sorry, can't do this. Bye bye. And that's fine, it's okay. Okay, because you've tried. You've done one more than
Yeah.
your previous self, than the next person. Um, and to be honest, I don't think I would have had the support structure that I have now if I hadn't done all these crazy things.
Mm.
Like, it just wouldn't have.
No.
Uh, so I
Yeah.
say, for those looking for advice and people, Start with the system that's closest, friends, family, siblings, but also be careful of the friends you keep, because of the friends you keep really do play a massive impact on the trajectory of your life. And then be unapologetic about reaching out to people and telling them your story and telling them what you're looking for, but also have value to offer. Skill set, again, goes back to skill set. Like, be willing to give people things just so that you can have their ear. Like, yo, I understand you have this problem. I want to solve this problem. All I want is a coffee with you. Like, that goes a long way. Like, I remember offering a coffee to a CEO the first time, and he was like, I'm too busy. And I was like, oh, damn, Daniel. Okay, cool. And then I realized, oh, no, he's actually got a bigger problem. Let me see if I'm
that's
able
actually
to solve
good.
this
Yeah.
problem.
First solving to
Turns
get
out
to put yourself
I solved
out
the
there,
problem,
solve people's
and I asked him
problems,
out for coffee the next
knock on
time, and
the
he was like,
doors,
heck yeah, pulled him
send the
to our offices.
messages. But I think
And I did. I was like,
I'm learning.
hello, I
I'm
come
also
back.
learning. I'm taking the tips. I'm also going to be knocking out
Yeah,
doors.
because
But yeah, thank you so much,
so
Emmanuel.
sometimes just solve
Thank you so
people's
much.
problems,
I
and they
hope
will be
those who are
open to
listening received,
mentoring you and
took
giving you
notes.
advice and sitting with
And
you,
as you've said, I think
because
one thing I've also heard from
you've
you
done something
is your
from
story.
the bottom.
Your story really does matter. Your story really does
Yeah.
make a difference, because people can resonate with that. And I've heard that people usually buy things, not just the product, but they buy a feeling, and the feeling usually comes also from the story and resonating with that person or whoever started that project, whoever started that thing. So yeah, I'm also taking that in. But yeah, thank you so much, Emmanuel. And yes, guys, the Arts and Blossom podcast. Emmanuel, tell us, is there anything that we can look forward to in the future? What can we look forward to? Is there some sites that we can see? Instagram account that we can go follow? Let us know. What's popping? Was everything under NDAs?
Yeah. It's tens. Sure. Sure. I'm so dead. No, look. So Instagram wise, personally, like my personal account, I'm not on it for the year. Um, I've just taken that stance. So, if I get an Instagram DM, I expect to have a 12-month response time. But I'm active on LinkedIn. Weird, right? I'm active on LinkedIn. Oh, makes me sound old, but I'm active on LinkedIn. But yeah, Emmanuel Maphosa, search that, you'll be good. But something to expect, I think. Sure, something to expect. Yeah, I'm really excited for what we're doing at the tech company. If people want more information on the tech company, it is Vision AI .tech, TECH, on all social media platforms, and super excited for what we're doing there, and just the partnerships we've built with different institutions like VIDS, and different institutions, VIDS, Zimbabwe School of Mines. We're working in Namibia as well. Doing a bit of work in Tanzania. So I'm excited for what's happening there. And yeah, if you want to chop it up, LinkedIn is probably the best place to catch me. Yeah, and then from a finance and business perspective, again, LinkedIn. Working on a few projects, helping get funded currently, and helping a small startup build a manufacturing plant in SA. So that's vibes. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, it's been interesting. And just super exciting.
Keep it straightforward.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing from people if they reach out. I don't know if I should give you my email because I don't know if I even look at my emails like that, you know. Yeah, what I was saying, like, just nah, I'm not about to do that. But Joe, next thing, my emails are flooded. Um, yeah, but I mean, if people want to chop it up, only LinkedIn. I'm a simple person, Nungu. Like, no stress, quite simple.
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Yeah, but I just want to say thank you for this podcast. This podcast and the episodes have been incredible. I think hearing from different artists and creatives like Rush, Joshua, and just various other people has been awesome. And the work you're doing, and I think having context, you know, like understanding what you put into this podcast, and not just the podcast, but the brand itself has been absolutely inspirational. Some of my inspiration for my work comes from this. And so I just want to say thank you. And may you continue. May God
thank you so
continue
much,
to bless.
Emmanuel.
And
Thank you so much.
may
Thank you
this
for
platform grow,
supporting.
man. Like,
In
let
those
it grow
words,
not
I
only
say
into a
amen.
podcast,
Let
but
it
like
be
a massive
so.
community
In
across the
Jesus'
world.
name. So
We are
yeah,
speaking it,
thank you
yes,
so much,
across the
Emmanuel.
world.
And for those who
For
heard,
creatives
you
together,
heard him.
and for
We'll
creatives
find him
to
on
find a
LinkedIn.
home.
That's the best place you'll find him.
Yeah, where they can talk about different
At Emmanuel
aspects of the creative
Maphosa.
field and
You can send him a
their
message if you're
journeys,
a person who
and
is
explore their
seeking charity
creativity
guidance or
in
even his
ways
marketing
unseen. Super excited for what
marketing,
this
business
podcast is
marketing
going to bring,
skills.
not only for South
Reach out
Africa,
to
but
him.
the
And
world at
yeah,
large. So thank you.
if you have conversations that you want to further with him, go for it. He's super friendly, super kind. And as you've heard, he genuinely wants people to win and and just really help people. And so thank you. Those who are listening, follow Arts and Blast Show, Arts and Blast Show on Instagram. And then you can listen to the other episodes on Spotify podcast and Apple Podcast. Thank you so much. Bye. Very true.
Bye.